Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Leicester City 1, Everton 2. A huge result and a huge weekend for Everton as they continue to try and get away from the bottom three, where we are out of it as we speak. And it was just a huge result after the other results of the weekend, Baz.
Massive results. Obviously, we'd had the good news on Saturday that Burnley had lost. And obviously Watford were relegated, weren't they? So it meant that it's, 3, possibly 4 teams involved in that one final place. So we, going into the Leicester game, you're looking at Leeds at Arsenal, thinking Arsenal probably beat them because they need to win and in a good run. And so was what could Everton do? And it was a must not lose game, absolutely. Yeah. We said in the preview, we were hoping that Leicester's European excursions may catch up with them. The manager obviously made half a dozen changes or whatever it was again, which we thought he might, for Leicester, but still a good side and a tricky place to go. And if Everton could get the win, it'd be huge. We knew we'd be out the bottom 3. And luckily and unfortunately, that's the way it played out.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, they did make a few changes, but it was still a strong Leicester team. Everton obviously went with the same team that won last week, which is good again, and obviously started at the same time as the Leeds game as well. And not a great start to the game, I must admit. We started a little bit slow, allowed them to create a couple of chances. Yerry Mina's had to clear one off the line quite early on, from just not being quite up to the pace of the game. But after that, we settled down, didn't we? And I said they had a lot of the ball. We knew they'd have a lot of the ball, and we settled down a little bit. And obviously, luckily for us, we created basically our first chance. And I mean, it wasn't even a chance, was it? Let's be honest. Ball over from Iwobi from the right hand side, and Mykolenko's hit it first time. He's hit it. It's an odd one, really. It almost looks like one of those ones where you catch it on your shin or it rolls down your leg, because it was such a strange. It probably came to him too early, but he just strikes through the ball, and he has done this previously in his home country, and he found the bottom corner, and it was brilliant to get off to that, even though it was a bit of a slow start, to get an early goal and have that momentum. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great strike. I think just had to wait for it to come out the air. That was all it was. So he just extended his leg on the volley, and whereas a lot of time you're running onto volleys, so the action looks a little bit different, but he just waited for it to come out and made sure he hit the target, and Schmeichel didn't get anywhere near it, and it was a perfect start, and coincided with Arsenal scored at exactly the same time against Leeds, so it was a double boost within the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and sent the fans into raptures. Our support have been incredible from the Saturday, with sending the team off, absolutely outstanding at Finch Farm, and then them getting to the ground early and singing before the game and all. It just all ran on, and to score a goal like that, like you say, after a little bit of a sloppy start, was the perfect place for Everton to start. And it gives you something, first of all, a goal in the first half that we haven't scored that many times, and to be ahead away from home, and it was like, what a start. Now can we do something with that? And it was really good moments after it, and then obviously there was.
But it was like a massive sliding doors moment, wasn't it? Next, we make the chance. It's a nice little move. I think it's Gray, isn't it, who puts it across, and the Corey slides.
Started the move, by the way.
The Corey slides in. Don't think he got a clean contact. Not sure if it was him or Johnny Evans who got the last touch on it. If he'd got a clean contact, I think it would have ended up in the back of the net. There's not really enough on it. Schmeichel managed to get a hand on it, stops it going, ends up hitting the post, and then 30 seconds later it's 1-1. Defensive mistake. 2 players going for the same ball. Mina's jumping for it. Seamus Coleman is not sure why he's there. No. Not sure why he's decided to take charge of the situation when Mina doesn't matter what. It's always going to hit Mina. He's 6'7", whatever he is. He's going to deal with it one way or another. And it's it's just one of those moments where you can see it happening in slow motion. That's the worst thing. You can see it happening, but the players can't respond, and obviously the player gets one-on-one with the keeper and finishes it brilliantly. And you've just gone from being opportunities to go 2-0 up. It's 1-1, they're at home. You know, it's that thing of like Newcastle, they've scored not long after we've scored. And you think, have we just lost the chance? And then Yerry Mina not long after goes off injured as well. And it's just all these things just combine. You think it's going to be one of those days again, isn't it? It's such a huge moment. You think if it goes the other way, we're 2-0 up, and you know.
Hey, what? No, it does. It does. You do start then thinking, God, are we just destined to go down because these things keep happening? You know, so frustrating, because you're right. If the Corey gets a better contact on, it's 2-0. You know, it was slow motion. It hits Schmeichel on the arse, I think, and runs into the other corner. And he's sat down, and you're looking at thinking, is it going to roll over the line? It's the inside of the post and rolls back into his hands. And then could anyone have got the bits? And then I don't even think it was 30 seconds later.
It was 10.
You know, it's 1-1. And I can't for the life of me understand what Seamus Coleman's doing. I really can't. Mina's hasn't done great with the initial header, but the ball's bouncing. I mean, he should have headed it first. He let it bounce. But I don't know why Coleman doesn't just back off 3 yards, because whoever gets a contact, he's in control of it. And I wouldn't be running into Yerry Mina.
No, that's what I don't understand.
It was berserk, and the pair of them fall over like bloody calamitous. And Patson Daka runs through and slots it past Pickford, and you do have that moment of just like, if they bang one in like Mykolenko, there's not much you can do about it. But that was Everton's own making.
Is that the 10th goal we've now conceded?
The most by any.
Well, I think it's 10 goals we've conceded by our own errors, and they're the errors that of West Ham game, the Burnley game. They're the reasons why we lost those 2 games. And you're thinking they're going, we've done it again ourselves. You think. Chelsea couldn't get through past us, Manchester United couldn't get past us, and yet Leicester have done nothing like they pretty much did in the home game to get a goal against us. And it's those moments where you're like what have we got here? We're at 1-1, we've just made a massive mistake, we should be 2-0 up, the momentum should be in our favour, and we've allowed it to go back to the Newcastle game, 1-0 up. You've got a chance to quieten things down, and it's defensive mistakes again that are Southampton. Our own mistakes that we've been making, and we let that come in and again. But you know what? Fair play to them. We stuck to the task. We could have easily at that point just have crumbled and gone, it's not our day, because that's what we've been doing all season. Let's be honest. That's why we'd only won 1 away game before yesterday, is because of that, almost that attitude of, oh, here we are again. Oh, we've made a mistake. Oh, we feel sorry for stuff. Yerry Mina going off. Michael Keane coming on. You know, again, it's that thing of, oh no, oh, we've lost that, oh, put the shirt over our head moment. But to be fair, the players responded brilliantly, and they kept on going. And, we keep on trying to do what we're trying to do, which is nick the ball, let them have the ball, nick the ball, and then try and break, as well as we can. We get a corner, and it's a fantastic header from Richarlison, forces Schmeichel into a save, which he probably could have done better from, but luckily for us, Mason Holgate was on hand to put it in the back of the net. And even when he headed it, I still wasn't sure if it was going to go in, because with Everton just being Everton. But we got that lead back, and again, that just psychologically huge moment. You've got over your mistake, you've got over losing you're the best defensive player, and you've retaken the lead in a way which psychologically hurts them as well, because another set piece for them. That obviously was the winning goal, but I just thought it was a huge moment for us in the game, and hopefully going forward, getting over those little psychological bumps that can stop you. That Sean Dyche spoke about at the Burnley game at half time. We told them, I told the lads that these don't know how to win away. And I think there was a few of them yesterday where we had to get over.
You always do. As a team, and you're trying to evolve, you've always going to come up against adversity, and you've got to come up against question marks. Can you have the answers to the question marks? Against Burnley, we didn't, and yesterday we did. And you're right, it was those moments. We talked about it in the match preview, how vulnerable Leicester are off set pieces. You know, they went out in Europe from a set piece and then we go and score one. Again, you know, it was a good ball in front of Mari, great brilliant header by Ritchie. Schmeichel's got in front of it and made the save. You know, you might, if I was him, I'd be asking why nobody reacted. Why was it only Holgate? But Holgate's done brilliantly, and you know, he scored at Leicester last season, didn't he, off a set piece? You know, pounced after I think it might have been Dom at the first header, he put the rebound in and he done exactly the same. And you're back in front, and you're right, it's that thing of, you know, we've made an error, it's 1-1, we've lost our best centre-back, but we've gone and we've scored. And there, you know, you do get those tests that come. If you pass those tests, then that's when the confidence starts to build within the team, and you think, well, if we do go behind, we're all right because we can recover, or if we do make a mistake, we stay in the game. And that's what we did, and I think the fans were massively important after it went 1-1 as well. Still heard them, the singing and the driving the team forward and all that, and there's that lovely bit of unity at the moment between the two where the fans just kept them going and they didn't go quiet, and the players that mightn't have had that moment to let that dip. And getting back in front was a huge thing for us, and then Leicester obviously looking a little bit vulnerable then on the counter-attack, a little bit wary, and we were just making sure that we were playing in a mid-block, as they were calling it, and just making sure we blocked out the spaces and tried to hit on the break. And they were always going to have a lot of the ball. They're a possession team. It's how Brendan Rodgers has built them. But I thought we coped and went in at half-time, 2-1 up, you know, and that was huge. It was huge for us to go.
Yeah, it did seem like there was a slight change of, you know, you mentioned there, like a slight change of philosophy in terms of we were away and they were going to have a lot of the ball, but I still felt like the game was quite open at times. You know, it wasn't just a case of sitting back and having the low block and just, you know, sucking it up and then trying to play in the break. We in the middle of the park, we only had two players. We were still quite open. We were open that, you know, we were relying on Del van der Koore to break it up, get it into, you know, our more attacking players. So there was that still element of danger, and it did allow them opportunities, but it also sort of, I think it's a weird one. It was like they were trying to lure us into a false sense, you know, trying to drag us out, and we were trying to do the similar as well, trying to pull them into place in, you know, up the field so that there was space behind them as well that we could capitalise on them. So at times there was that little bit of like, oh, are we a little bit too open here? And of course teams will get opportunities.
The thing about it is, though, with the situation we were in, we did have to play with a little bit of risk. Yeah. Even though we were blocking off passing lanes and stuff and making sure there was players behind the ball, we do have to carry that threat. We were looking for a positive result. You know, and sometimes the best way to do that is when you're ahead and you're trying to catch teams on the break, because they are wary, they've already conceded. You know, and we've seen that in the second half. The amount of times in the second half we broke on them, and it was the wrong choice, or we slowed the game down and ended up passing it back, where we possibly could have killed the game off, and yet we've still had to rely on.
No, there were those. I thought there was moments in the second half. You know, we got to half time. Obviously, we were winning, and we come out second half, and there was. Listen, you know, we rode. I mean, whether you call it riding your luck, I don't know, but Jordan Pickford's obviously had to make some fantastic saves again. You know, the first one he made, I think it was from Mendy, wasn't it? Was
brilliant. Sure.
I thought it was in. I thought
it was wrong arm.
Wrong arm, yeah. Last week went with his wrong face. You know, that one I just thought was in. I
thought the Harvey Barnes one was in rather than that one.
I just thought that was in. It was almost like I'd lost, when you're watching it, I lost the flight of it. It just looked like it was in. But he was magnificent in that second half. Let's just have a look at his numbers from the game. So touches 45, saves 7, saves in the box 3, claims 1, long balls 10.
Accurate long balls, that is.
Accurate long balls.
He hit a couple of fantastic passes. Out to the wing, unbelievable passing technique. But no, he was brilliant. He was brilliant. Like you say, the Mendy one, I expected him to save because he's seen it a long way. It was a great save, don't get me wrong. I'd have been disappointed if that had gone in. The one from Harvey Barnes, low down, to get it out from where he was, and then your heart stops because you see a Leicester player running Holgate, manages to smuggle it away. Brilliant, just brilliant reflexes, and you know, his form, said this before, you know, in general, since the derby at Anfield last February of last season, his form has been excellent for Everton. Really has been brilliant. The odd time when he could do better, I've said it before, Burnley's first goal, Newcastle's second goal, I don't know why he's outside of his goal on both of those occasions, but in general, he's been brilliant for us. You know, and then last week and this week, he's made saves. I said this on me aftermatch yesterday, and I wasn't likening him to Neville Southall, but I was saying he's making the kind of saves now that are winning Everton points, and the best goalies do that. You know, it is what Nev used to do for Everton. A lot of the time, he'd make saves and you'd go on and win the game. And we've seen, you know, Tim Howard and Nigel Martin, when they were in great form, I'd win you those games sometimes. And we've needed Jordan Pickford to do that for us. And in the last 2 weeks especially, he's made unbelievable saves, but he's been in brilliant form. And there's this mad nonsense narrative that, like, he's amazing for England, but he's rubbish for Everton. It's just bollocks. People who watch him every week know it's nonsense. And again, he showed on Sunday why there isn't even anyone that's within touching distance of him, let alone challenging him for the England shirt. He's just miles better than any English goalie, like miles better. And he proved it again at the weekend. He was absolutely fantastic, and he's won Everton the game brilliantly. Yeah,
and ultimately that's what his job is to do, isn't it? His job is to make those saves. His job is to make sure, he gets the big arm on things. You're right. The low down one from Harvey Barnes. He's got it away, and there was a shot I think later from Harvey Barnes as well, wasn't it? From outside the box that bounced in front of him, and he's pushed that wide as well. I think that's maybe where he actually has got better, is that he's making sure things leave the danger area as well now, not just making saves. I think it previously been accused of, when people have been very nitpicky of making saves, but pushing it back into danger areas and that stuff like that. But his saves in the last couple of weeks have been so huge. But to me, he just looks focused. He's switched on. I seen and heard people saying after the Merseyside derby, oh, he pulls this face and he pulls that face and all this kind of nonsense. It's like, when he does something, he'll do whatever he needs to do to get to reset or move on to the next thing or whatever it is. And when you're watching him week in and week out, you start recognising that. And even someone the other week was having a go at him, saying when he comes out and he has a go at people, when shots are being allowed, and it's like
should be.
Number one, he should be, but number two, if that's what he has to do after he's not made a save, rather than stand there and applaud himself, if he has to come out and say, why aren't you stopping the shot? Then if that's how he deals with it, then that's brilliant. The players know they have to stay on their toes. He doesn't want to be making those saves because it doesn't always come out the way you want it to be.
If that was one criticism yesterday, there was a spell in the second half when we allowed them to get shots away. They got about 4 away on the run, and the Corey and Gray a couple of times, like half-hearted, like not putting the foot in. Get out fast. Don't do it. I said called it last week, didn't I? The false press. It's like, if you're going out, go out and get out there smartly so that he hasn't got to pull off worldly saves, But he was in so much control. And there was only really one moment when I thought it's in, and that was Harvey Barnes' header, and that was because John Joe Kenny didn't block the cross, and he should have done. He jogged out when Mykolenko's been getting out fast and making sure, and Iwobi on the other side have been making sure there was no clear cross. Kenny kind of ambled out and just allowed them to put the cross on him. We nearly paid for it, but in general, I thought John Joe done all right when he come on. We obviously lost Mykolenko on the stretch, and it was that moment you're thinking, oh, he's having a good game, and now he's gone off, and then Kenny comes on. But John Joe Kenny, I mean, apart from a couple of times being on the edge of their box with the ball, sensible, I'm thinking, I've seen you in the shooting videos and training, just have a shot then. I thought he stuck to his task well as well, apart from, like you say, that one moment where he didn't get close enough. And that was what was really key, I think, was that they did make sure they were always back in shape. Always, and sprinting. He was on one where he was out of position, and he just sprinted all the way back right into position. I think he even got a block in, and it was like that stuff they weren't doing 2 months ago. They're doing, and they're looking a better side for it.
Yeah, just sprinting back into your position, isn't it? Making sure. Do you think there's one in the second half where Iwobi's just he's jogging back and then he sees the fella go past him, so he sprints, gets himself, and the sprint means that when the ball doesn't even go to the player he's sprinting to, but it means he gets back in his position, and it means when the ball does come into the box, I think he deals with it twice. He heads it away, comes back, and then it falls to him, and then he makes sure he clears it. And it's those little extra things that are so key. We've talked about this loads of times. We talked about it when we played Leeds, and it was like that on that night, making players doing that little extra bit, forcing the opposition into mistakes. And it's things like that they're the little dirty things that get you wins.
Yeah.
That all those little things that they don't get you goals, or they may not show up on a highlight reel, but they're the things that you've got to do in a game to make.
Well, look at what they've done in the last 5 games. The effort they've put in, the importance of getting back into shape, the importance of, yesterday a few times just knocking it into the corners and going, just get it out of here. Like Mykolenko's done it a few times. Not none. I'm just going to bop it down into that corner. It's something that Iwobi got caught in the first half. In fact, their first chance they had, he's on the ball. Delph gives him it. And instead of going, I don't understand why players put it back into an open pitch when you're committed.
Yeah.
What Iwobi should have done was just knocked it down the line and gone, there was nothing on, I'll get myself. Mykolenko was doing it, but they have started to do that more. They've started to just turn it round the corner and go. And it's no kind of surprise that in those last 5 games they took 10 points. They just amassed points from doing it, whereas beforehand, this is the kind of thing that the best teams, Liverpool, City, probably like Chelsea because they're up there, the best teams have done all season. They work the bollocks off, they make sure they cover for each other, and when there's nothing on, they'll maybe not City because they like to keep the ball, but Liverpool especially, they've got no interest in arsing about with it. If it's not on, they'll knock it into a corner and go to one of the front 3, get after it. We'll play it a little bit direct and stuff like that, and that the best teams do it. If Everton would have played the way they have done the last 5 games from day one, they wouldn't be in this mess now. They'd be in Europe because they'd have amassed enough points. Because if you look at the league, teams like West Ham, who were having a good season, that's what they do. Moyes doesn't have them arsing about with the ball. Wolves are up in the top half of the table. I don't think Wolves are that good a side, but they don't give, in general, they don't give cheap goals away and they work hard. They're up there. And so for Everton, it's all Newcastle have done really. Eddie Howe, credit to them. They've done in most of their games is being defensively solid, knocked it into channels and made sure they don't make errors, and that got them clear of any of this mess when they were in real trouble. We haven't done it, and I guess that's where there's got to be credit, I think, given to Frank Lampard and the coaching staff and the players for taking it on board, is that realising we are in the shit here. Yeah. We can't do that. Let's do this. And when they've done this, they've almost gone back to a little bit like Carlo Ancelotti had it. A little bit is that if there's nothing on, just get rid of it. Particularly away from home. We did this a lot last season. Away from home. We made sure we were tight. And we have teams on the play. Actually, but I still think they carry a threat.
And actually, when you have got Richarlison and Anthony Gordon and Gray, who are fast and will, we've seen Richarlison will chase every lost cause. So you can turn one of those balls into something more positive. He's not going to give the defender a minute's peace, is he? He's going to make sure that he tries to get something. And I think that that's why he's playing up front, because it gives you that out ball. We watched Marcus Bent, and then Marcus Bent turned into Andy Johnson, and the amount of times those two players turned lost, a ball when you cleared your lines, they turned an out ball into something. If when you're a throw-in or when you're a corner, you turn that into a chance, which we did lots of times, and it's what's working right now, and you mentioned there like the disappointment in the second half. You're right. The disappointment to me was in the second half, when we did have good spells of pressure, was far too many times we got the ball on the edge of the box and just tried to work it, and then we'd either go back or lose it. And for me, in those times, 2-1 up, I wanted us to just be it's not reckless, and it's not even you're not even throwing everything at them, but throw it in the box or have a shot and see what happens, because for all we know, you throw a ball into the box and it falls perfectly for Richarlison and he gets a header. Or Johnny Evans headers it away, but it falls to one of our players on the edge of the box. I'd rather that. I think that's where, I think if we could just throw the ball into the box 3 or 4 more times, have 3 or 4 more shots from outside the box, and just see what happens, rather than just losing it and going back and starting again.
Look at 2 of Anthony Gordon's goals this season. You know, Brighton at home and Manchester United at home. He just had shots on the edge of the box. He both ended up in the net. And you're right, that was the bit that annoyed me yesterday, is that we done really well defence from a defensive position. We done well on a counter-attacking position. We break a pace and we'd cut through them. You're thinking, right, work it onto you and have a shot now, and we'd stop and start playing little 1-2s with each other and thinking, that's great, but we're not doing any damage to them. Whereas I think if you're breaking and getting shots away and their keeper's having to make saves, or it's fizzing just wide, it puts them under pressure, makes them wary, thinking, got to be careful here because we're giving them opportunities. We were doing everything right up until the edge of the penalty area, and then we weren't finishing with a shot or a cross, like you're saying. So for them, we weren't looking like we were going to add a goal when really we should have been, because we were on the edge of the box. Doesn't mean you go gung-ho.
No.
It doesn't mean you abandon. It just means when you've got it on the edge of the box, play a little 1-2 and have a shot.
But that's what I mean, because it's not what I mean. That's what I'm saying. You're not taking any risk, because you're having exactly the same amount of players around the box as what we did. We had Gray, Richarlison, Gordon, and then
occasionally Delph,
and then the Corey sitting on the edge. So you're not asking for any more players. What you're saying is, just throw one into the box now and again. Just throw one, or have a shot yourself. And I think
get a corner over there.
Yeah, and that's it. They only has to bounce the wrong way, and it goes out for a corner, and they're terrified of set pieces. I think that was the only thing. We just didn't make the right choice. You know, Anthony Gordon had an opportunity. He got down the right, and that one I was like, have a shot at goal. Keeping my Palmer out, force one of our players. You know,
the one where was that the one when he hesitated and
he pulled it back to No, he pulled the one he pulled back to Richarlison.
Even the one where we broke and it got played off to him, the whole corner was on. He got a shot away in the end. Evans blocked it, but he should have hit it early. He waited and went and then hit it and allowed Evans. Whereas if he'd got out of his feet and just banged it, it's a cross. Schmeichel, he's got to deal with it. But listen, we are nitpicking. But against Watford, certainly in the next game, I want us to be testing the goalkeeper more, get the shots away.
But I think that was the thing. No, it was that was. I felt like that was very similar to the Burnley game. It was. You're not throwing any more at them. You're just trying different things now and again, rather than recycling or losing the ball on the edge of the box.
Because you can't keep the ball for half an hour.
No, you can't, and you know the opposition are going to have chances.
Well, that's what I mean. To be fair, that's what Leicester were doing. They were getting the ball around the edge of the box and having shots, and Pickford's having to make saves, and they get corners and you're thinking, oh my God, we've got to defend this well.
It's pressure.
We should have been doing it.
That's what I'm saying. It's pressure, isn't it? It makes it look like you're doing a lot better than
maybe
what you are, or if you're making,
or it feels like you're the defensive team, you're under so much pressure. And I think Frank Lampard will look at that. He was the fella who banged them in from 25 yards anyway, wouldn't he? So I'm quite sure that'll be something they identify moving forward. Keep doing all the other stuff, but when you get a chance edge of the box, you start the pot.
Yeah. But as you said, no more goals from us. There was
Rondon come on for Calvert-Lewin. So what?
Instead of
Calvert-Lewin instead. I mean, when it looked like they were going to make a change, I thought it might be Dele, because I thought he might go with a false 9. And then I seen Rondon, and I mean, what were your thoughts? Because a few people have messaged me, like, what? And I know, like, my dad was like, what's wrong with Calvert-Lewin if he's not even getting on here? And
trust.
The manager said he trained all week.
Trust, isn't it? It's trust. He's got Richarlison doing a particular job, which is running after lost causes, making sure that when their centre-backs have got the ball, or when the full-backs have got the ball, or even, Mendy will say, is that they always feel like they're under pressure, and it gives us a way out.
Yeah.
I think what we've seen in the last couple of weeks is Rondon has got this particular style, which is so weird. It's like you watch him, and it's like watching me running up a road when I've done 5k. It's there's no artistry about it at all. It just looks like you're dead on your feet. But somehow he makes, listen, I'm not saying he does it all the time, but it's an awkward style that I don't think defenders can quite understand what he's going to do. He makes things stick. He gets it. He's got loads of experience.
He's strong as well, isn't he?
He's strong. he can get his back into people, and he just makes it a little bit more awkward. And I just don't think the manager thinks Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to do it for him. And do you know what? Number one, the manager, if he thinks that and he's doing that, that's huge. You've got a guy on the bench who's valued at 60 million or whatever, and is one of the best players in the country, and all, all this sort of smoke blowing up his backside and all that. I know one thing, the Braun adverts have dried up. But, and you're not bringing him on in games where he's supposed to be fit, and he's not a placeholder. Like last week, Tom Davies was a placeholder. He was there for his own sort of... He wasn't there this week. And you think, Rondon's getting on at Eddie, and it's because the manager said, wants a player to be up front and make sure that when those outballs are there, there's someone who's going to go for them. And I just don't think he trusts Dominic Calvert-Lewin to do that. And I just don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin trusts his own body to be able to go and do that. And that's where we are right now. And I think in a way, you could almost dismiss Dominic Calvert-Lewin now as a part of the running almost. I mean, if we do have him, that's a bonus to me. I'm not thinking we all have to pin our hopes on him, because we certainly don't. I think he's become someone that, who's to say on Wednesday night he doesn't start the game? The manager goes, well, I've left you for that. Now you're starting the game.
Yeah.
But in the last embers of the game, the manager's thinking, this fella
don't make it awkward.
Can make it awkward. Whereas Dominic Calvert-Lewin might take 5 minutes to get up to the speed of the game, and then does he do that running, that unselfish running? Is he going to do that? And the answer, by the looks of it, is no. So the manager's gone with that, and it is.
He went and bought a brilliant free kick in injury time as well, Rondon. Got hold of it, little drop of the shoulder.
See, that's because, and I've said this previously, said this a few weeks ago, Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't prepared to be the bad guy. He isn't prepared to dive. He isn't prepared to take an elbow in the face or look like he's took an elbow in the face. He's not prepared to go down when someone pushes him, and he's not prepared to push them back. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for a big lad, isn't prepared to do the dark arts. He's never done them. He's just not. He's just not in his thing. He's not nasty. He's not a snarler. He's not someone who'll try and rough you up. And I'm afraid that where we are right now, we need people like that. We need people who can boil piss. And he only seems to boil piss when he's on the front of a magazine. So it's up. But the manager might start him on Wednesday. He might say, right, you're starting this one.
Off you go.
We need fresh legs, and you got to look at it that way as well, I suppose. Just got, with the amount of games we've got.
For him.
Yeah, with the amount of games we've got. So, but listen, we got through it. We got through the game. There was moments like you mentioned before. The Harvey Barnes header was
close.
Was a big one. Was a big one. But we saw it through. And fair play to the players. They kept going to the end, and they got their just rewards, and the fan base got their just rewards. And it wasn't easy, as we said before. We had Yerry Mina go out. Michael Keane had to come on, and to be honest, I thought Michael Keane done brilliantly. Brilliant. Him and Holgate now, back together in electric dreams. Both of them have got us the waypoints. Yeah. They were the starting centre backs at Brighton, and they were the finishing centre backs. But let's look at Michael Keane's numbers. Touches 29, clearances 7, interceptions 1, duels 1, 4 out of 4, which is big, and tackles 2. And he just came on and he just seamlessly replaced Yerry Mina, didn't he, and did what he had to do. And again, the system suits him because there's nothing fancy about it. He did have one little run.
He had one little... he got away with it brilliantly. If you could get away with it, that's how you open teams up. He went down 3 on the halfway, but I did have shades of Man City.
But he did back
but then he did sprint it back. But no, he was, people have criticised him and stuff like that, and at times it's been right as well, because he's had poor games. He is the ultimate confidence player, but I thought he'd come into such a tough game, because obviously he's been left out last few weeks, and that'll be a hammer blow confidence-wise. But he came into such a difficult game and settled in as if when at Anfield he started at Anfield when he shouldn't have been playing, only for Godfrey to be injured. So for him to come in and to do that job And to do it as well as he did, it was brilliant. And he faced different strikers as well. He had Iniacio, Daka, then Vardy. Done a brilliant job, and he deserves a mention because I thought he was excellent. And you know what? Mason Holgate is another one who people have criticised, rightly so. He's been way off it, Holgate. Yeah. But I thought the last few weeks he's been excellent. At Anfield he was good. I thought he was good against Chelsea, and I thought he was really good, yeah. And he's got the winning goal, which should do his confidence. Now keep the chewy out your mouth, keep the arrogance away, and just focus on defending like you used to do. You do that, then you never know.
Well, it is all about defending, isn't it? It is all about just doing your job, and nothing else matters. And don't dwell on the ball, don't make stupid mistakes, don't communicate with each other, and making sure you just put your foot through it, proper old school defending. So
just the least, we've said it before, and it's the most basic thing in the world, but the least dangerous place on a pitch is the opposition's corner flag.
What did you think as well about, obviously, Delph's played, you know, he's played through the game. We've got no Allen coming on for us. Obviously that might have been forced by the injuries. But you know, he's played again in midfield, him and Decore. We know Decore seems massively refreshed after, you know, coming back and then sitting on the bench for a couple of weeks. He looks massively fresh. He's back to his best. But Delph, I think, just is quietly gone about his business. Not doing anything sensational. But I think it is important we have that player, isn't it, who just sits in front of the back four and doesn't go running round looking to close people down. He's just sitting there being the pivot.
He knows the position, doesn't he? He's so experienced. You know, I know he played a lot of time for City at left back, but he did play in centre mid as well for them. He played for Leeds and Villa and in there as well. So he knows the role. And he is calm, and he's comfortable on the ball, and he likes to put a tackle in. He's done reasonably well. You know, he's our specialised number 6, isn't he? We haven't got, you know, Tom Davies is probably the only one else who's in the squad who naturally can play that role. Alan has played it, but he does like to leave gaps because he wants to charge after the ball. And I noticed Frank Lampard was speaking about the Leicester game at Goodison, and he said we had to change the way we pressed against them because at half time, if you think back to the Goodison game, we couldn't get near them in the first half. Second half,
and that's why I thought Delph was quietly went about his job, because I think we mentioned it on the preview when we played them at home in that first half after they'd scored for 20 minutes. Players were just frantically running around. They were just playing that. Whereas I just thought yesterday he just sat there and he was like, well, pass it all you want, but I ain't moving. I'm not moving. Decore's going to pick up the bits, but we're just going to sit here and you can pass and pass and pass. Because that, like you said, then that was the difference in the second half against Leicester. We didn't go mad. We just sat there and went, come on then, break us down. You can have all the ball you want, but if you got to break us down, and that was the difference. And I thought that's where Delph just quietly went about his business. Let's look at his numbers from the game. So 52 touches, pass accuracy 95%, key passes 1, duels won 5 out of 7 and 1 tackle. So he just quietly went about his business. Again, he probably, I can't imagine he'll start against Watford now, and Alan might come in and play instead. I mean, you
don't know, because
I'm talking about his body.
What Lampard might want to do though is try to just build on that win, and if Everton can beat Watford, then the pressure but the rest of the teams, isn't it? And they might. I know what you're saying, because it might be like Alan, you're gonna go and play in there now, and we'll have your energy. It'll be interesting to see whether he persists with the 3 at the back, whether he leaves that and leaves the 3. But obviously, you know, will Seamus just continue to play as the 3rd centre back? Maybe it will. Maybe he'll look at it and goes, well, this gives us, because we're away from home as well, this gives us the opportunity. Or whether he'll go, no, actually, because we can be a bit more expansive against these, we might play 4-3-3. That might be how he sets it up, because the midfield. But I think if Delph, he'll obviously have 2 days. Like I don't imagine he'll train before the game. Or if he does, it'll be a light session on Tuesday. He may just feel like leaving for this next one and keep the continuity, get through the next one. If we win the next one, then then he can make a decision, because it's a home game against Brentford and it'll be a slightly different game. And Alan was excellent, I think, last time he played Brentford. He had Gomez in there, he was obviously back in the squad, so he might look at it that way. But I think what Delph does is because there isn't we don't naturally have another one like him in there.
No.
The same as when Decore goes out, we don't naturally have another one like Decore. Yeah. So they're doing a good little job at the moment. Yeah. And I think what will be key is if Mykolenko's fit.
Yeah.
I think if Mykolenko's fit, it gives you that balance on that side with the left foot. He may well leave the starting lineup. It's very similar to what started.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too much difference. It's just whether Delph's body can cope with the game, and also Lampard's got to look at it, hasn't he? Because he knows he's not going to have Mina. He's not going to want to make too many changes knowing that you're losing one of your spine already. You don't want to make too many changes, but I
think you'd have to mention the fans. No,
the fans were unbelievable.
Fans were loudest you'll ever hear from an away fans. Unbelievable commitment from Saturday going to Finch Farm. Everyone who went, everyone who was in that end yesterday should be proud, and they've deserved it. I think you said on a different show, they've deserved it. They've been up and down the country all season. I've seen nothing since August. So to see that and to hear them and to see the way they were and to see them not going anywhere when the whistle went, and you know, Leicester police tweeting something like, you know,
you go home now.
You go home and it's been referenced as NBC just literally let the thing play out for 3 minutes while he talked over it, and I've seen so many people talking about it. I've seen Leicester fans saying most unbelievable away support we've ever had here and all of that. To do that when you're in the situation we're in is incredible, and they dragged the team through it, and it was fantastic that the manager came back out to share that moment with them as well. And like you said, it isn't done. We've still got loads of work to do, but I'll tell you what, they're driving this club on, and rightly so, because the fans are the heartbeat of the football club.
No, the fans are the club as far as I'm concerned. There's you know, people can put as many statements out as they want. Got nothing to do.
As much money in the club.
Got nothing to do with them. Without the fans, without the people who go to Goodison, about the people who go to the away games, this club just simply wouldn't exist. It doesn't matter what anyone says. We're not like other clubs. Can't rely on the foreign, you know, day trippers or the kit sales or whatever. The fans are just the lifeblood, and they're what keep Everton relevant some of the time. You know, the ones who bang the drum for the club all the time when the club refuses to bang the drum for itself. You know, and all you see from the game is images of the fans, and that's rightly so, because they're the ones who make the difference. They're the ones who, you know, at the Chelsea game, you know, Finch Farm and all the rest of it. So that shouldn't be lost at all in this.
And I think what they've done, certainly what you've seen since Chelsea, and we saw at Finch Farm, the scenes before they left for Leicester, showing the manager and the coaching staff, like, this is what this club is. We're fanatical. We're a big club. I know we might be a big team at the moment, but we're a huge football club. These fans are mad. You know, we're mad. We've had nothing for 28. Nothing for 28. Ignore all that. We've had good times. We have. You know, we've had times that other clubs have. All the, you know, lots of times. We've had nothing, and yet this is how big it is. And I think if you're Frank Lampard. Yes, he played at Goodison, he knows what he's like. His dad, he knows Everton were a club that won stuff, but coming here as the manager and seeing that, he must be like, oh, there's something going on here. If we can tap into it and keep it going and move ahead, there's a new stadium there being built, there's this lot, nutters banging on flares and banging on windows, ready for it. Use that energy to move forward, and what the fans have done is they've reconnected with. We're always there. We sell out all the time. We sell out up and down the country. We sell out our home games all the time. We're always there, but maybe we have been guilty of all became wary of sacking the manager, players who didn't deserve the money they were on, and the disconnect went like that. And now this season, because it's almost like the actions the club have done have pushed us to the edge, and the next minute we're looking and going, we're on the edge of a cliff here, and no one seems to be taking responsibility. It's ours. We have to do it, and we've, you know, Brentford in the FA Cup started it, and the home fans, like you said, bar Wolves, I think the home atmospheres have been excellent. I keep saying it, Leicester the other week, 1-0 down at the end, and they're still right behind the team. I've not seen that at Goodison for years. And then this just gone up another couple of levels. It's almost like they've dragged the club back into a position where now we can get safe. And we've got a manager who's tapped into that as well. And I think and he's savvy enough to do it, they like him, they're all pulling together. And because of that, the fans are the ones who are protecting it and driving this football club forward. And we're seeing it borne out in results now. And it'll continue. And it needs to continue. And the more people that want to get involved in it means it drives the football club forward. For too long, I think we felt disempowered by everything. I feel we've become that club where the owner's just a little plaything and you just kind of go, we've got no control here. And what's been really good is people are now starting to go, no, that's not my football club. My football club is, I'm part of it. We're all part of it. And I think once we get rid, and I've seen less of it now on social media, once we stop ripping each other and we all stay together and stick together, then we can move forward.
Then in 2 weeks' time we can have a debate
without a shadow,
about what needs to be done going forward. But for the next 2 weeks, let's keep it all going, which they will.
They will, yeah.
And we've got 4 big games in that time, and let's just get over the line. Let's get over the line. Hopefully, keep our Premier League status, and then go from there, and then we can then have those serious conversations about what happens next. But we don't need to have them in the next 2 weeks. Let's just have
focus on the team.
Focus on the team, the manager, the fans, all being together and getting the job done. And then in 2 weeks' time we'll look at the bigger picture. And it's hopefully it's driving the club forward and being united as as the club. So
because that's how we'll get where we want to go.
That's the
only way.
And what we've shown is the fans can be the difference. The fans can be the difference when it comes to this team. So or any team going forward, any Everton team. So let's have a little look at the stats. There you go.
Leicester 16 shots to 10, 9 for Leicester on target, 4 for Everton, 3 big chances for Leicester, 2 for Everton, 66% for Leicester, 34. Everton's XG was higher than Leicester's yesterday. We won the XG and we won the game. So
Brendan Rodgers never won an XG. That's a big one, isn't it? Won the possession. He'll be made over.
That's his thing. No, it's a huge win. Huge win, and
build on it.
Ourselves a chance.
Gives ourselves a chance. Build on it on Wednesday, and then in the 2 home games, and we'll see what happens. Right, we are staying on Patreon. We're live on Patreon. There you go. If you want to join us on Patreon, there's a link in the description. There'll also be our thing on the screen as well, QR code on the screen as well. So make sure you join us on Patreon if you want live daily shows. Thanks for watching. See you later.